guys here. These are myrtle oak. This is a myrtle oak. I've got several that I planted from acorns. And this is also another one. And then there's firebush all around here. These are just volunteer firebush. They will freeze and resprout. They used to freeze and resprout every year, every winter pretty much. There's another myrtle oak that I planted. These papayas are, they're pretty sensitive, but I've got fruit. So, and I also have seedlings already growing underneath that oak. I can cover those up. Now, this firebush, this monster firebush growing up by the house, was just a small bush growing here right in the drain field, and I never worried about it because it froze back to the ground every year. It's gotten out of control, and I like it though. I like it growing this big, but it's time. If it gets frozen back and resprouts, it'll just give me an excuse to tame it again, and that's no problem. And this Brugmansia came from the ones that I had in the backyard before all the trees shaded out the light. There's still some scattered in there. This would never survive in the front. The first decade I lived here, it would freeze back every year, and I'll break some sticks off and bring them in the garage like I did the first 10 years here, and just stick them back out if they freeze. But they've taken over. It's been great actually. And this one, this Capparis flexuosa, was planted near the small bush of firebush from seed years ago, and it's now intertwined in here. It's amazing. It keeps growing. It's actually a pretty big stem now, as you can see. There it is. It's something that grows also coastally, not in this area, but it's survived many years, including the times when we had freezes, because it would resprout underneath the firebush. So if you get a hard freeze, I anticipate it'll just resprout along with the firebush. It's not a bad thing if this gets frozen back. And again, here we have more Brugmansia. All these oaks are, of course, very cold hardy. Here's the remaining myrtle oak. There used to be another one here. It's far too shady for it now. And here's another Lysoloma. The oaks will be fine. This palm was from seed in 1999. There's just a whole story about it, as those are. Those are, of course, right by the septic tank at drain field. 2005, post Wilma, I collected a whole bunch of Eugenia fetida, Spanish stopper, and planted them from seed. So they're over 20 years old now, and they're doing well. And these are longans that were just planted from seeds over the years, thanks to Alan Buckholt and his family farm and homestead. There's a lot of Spanish stopper around here. We have citrus, mostly sour orange left. That stuff, it would take a really hard freeze to kill sour orange. I'm not worried about that. Some of the Spanish stopper is protected again. That oak was actually a volunteer oak, live oak from our other oak, and I just kept chopping around it. And that mango over there, I'll talk about in a minute. These are all native oaks, and I've let them grow in. I kind of use them as a fire break. And I have a bunch of, that's a live oak there. This is all native pine flatwoods plants there. That's not cold tolerant. And it's not cold sensitive, and of course it needs to burn. I'm hoping it'll burn this year. Not quite ready, and it's too dry. But even if it was too dry and it burned, it would be fine. Here's some mangoes from seeds that are high risk, because that's north, and these things don't like the cold. They handle drought. These have not been irrigated, and they handle this sandy soil. So I will at least cover up the base of them, so maybe they'll resprout from the base if they get knocked back. It's always interesting. Oh, and this is a sterile hybrid Hong Kong orchid tree. It looks like the invasive. It's not invasive. It was here with the previous owner. Had it here, and it used to freeze back regularly in the stems. It shows a long history. The bougainvillea has frozen back. It used to freeze back to the ground. It's even burnt back to the ground in a wildfire that burnt the house across the street in that direction in 2008. It froze, and then the wildfire came in and burned all the way up to here, to where the fire break is, and burnt it back to the ground. And 6 months later, a tiny stem came up. That was 2008. As you can see, it's fine. This is a mulberry. That freeze is not going to affect this. It won't stop there. Here again is a really nice Spanish stopper, but it's actually got those leaves to protect it, keep it warm over here. But you can see this this Bauhinia has had all kinds of frost damage, freeze and hard freeze damage, really, and just keeps resprouting. I think it's a great ornamental tree. It's not invasive. It's a fantastic tree. We'll see how this pitaya does. I'm not as excited about pitaya now that they do mosquito control for adult larvae, because we just don't get the fruit anymore. Hopefully someday we will.